Well, Kelly.
Richard and I were very tired after the trip from Nantucket, and we decided to rest up for a few hours before we would watch the telecast. He came to my room a few hours later, and he looked very tired, and he said he hadn't rested at all. We watched the show. He didn't want any dinner, though. He wanted to go back to his room and read and go to bed. We said goodnight. And that was the last time that I ever saw him alive.
I'm still not very clear on when you and Mr. Barr, your friend here, got together.
Robert was staying in the hotel, and we had talked a few times. And I called him after Richard left and asked him to come up. I told him I was worried about Richard, and I called Richard's room, and there was no answer, and I thought he was probably asleep, and that was good. But I wasn't really sure, so I knocked on the door, and I called out his name, and there was no answer. And I panicked. Robert suggested that I call security. And
that's what she did. And they came up and they opened the door, and he was inside. He was dead, and that's what she saw. She saw him.
You told the police you were alone when you went to the room.
Well, Kelly wasn't ready to make the nature of our relationship public before she had spoken with her family about it. And there didn't seem to be any need to until now.
But I saw what I saw when he sang to you. And I heard the evasion in his voice when I called him and you were there with him.
What I saw when he paid all that attention to me was his incredible generosity. Renata, he came to visit me right after a miscarriage. And he knew I was in bad shape, and he wanted to help. And he was kind, and he was loving, and he was funny. And he never treated me like anything different than his best friend's daughter. And when my father asked him to, he took me away on this fantasy trip to get my mind off of everything and to make it magical and wonderful. He fussed over me. And that is what you saw on the television. Yeah, he said to me how much he regretted the two of you growing apart, and how he felt it was his fault, and how he wanted to change it, and he missed being close to you. That living in hotels and being a performer and traveling wasn't enough to fill his life. Renata, he needed you. He needed you. He really did.
I'm sorry. I misunderstood. Thank you for telling me, Kelly. Can you forgive me?
Yes.